What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former first round pick, former big leaguer with the Kansas City Royals. We are live and in charge today. I want to say what's up to everybody listening in. I want to give a big shout out to the last two college coaches that's come on the show. Coach Tom over there at Winthrop University out there in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and Coach Nick Derber that came on yesterday from University of Maine, all right, way up in Maine. How awesome was that, man? So we definitely wanted to say a big shout out to those guys. I have Siena College up in Albany, New York, Division I up there. I'm supposed to have Coach Rossi coming on Friday. I'm gonna try to switch it to tomorrow. If not, will be next week because Friday I will be having a game during my normal live time. I will still be on, but it'll be earlier because I will have a game over in Arkansas State, pending on weather in the Mid-South area has been kind of crazy. But anyway, I want to say a quick shout out to we have some of the alums that got drafted, man, off the show. Just found out, just texted his dad and congratulated him. But Aaron Roberts, who the Las Vegas, and his dad that came on the show earlier this year, talked a lot about the draft, the recruiting process, and also the draft process. And he just got drafted in the 15th round by the Boston Red Sox. So shout out to them. Congratulations to them. And they are. I talked to him. He's going to try to get on next week sometime. And just talk about the whole draft process and what they're choosing to do. I got a couple more guys behind the scene I'm waiting to hear from, and I wanted to kind of discuss certain, a local guy here in the Memphis area, his decision, and I wanted to kind of get into that story today because it's exciting times, man. For a lot of dreams were fulfilled, a lot of parents, most kids were happy, to get drafted. I guarantee you there was a lot of them that were not happy, even though they got drafted, were not happy. Also, and I'm going to talk about that, but I mean, it's still a sense of accomplishment, right? To get, to get drafted. So what an awesome time, for these families, no doubt about it. Let me give a shout out to what up, Alicia? What's going on? Andrew, what's up? Jay Soma, New York in the house. Keish, what's going on? Texas in the house. Travis, what's up, baby? And Miss Sheree out in Cali, what's good? What's good? What is good? So I wanted to talk about the draft. I call it draft time stories. Okay, just what's going on with a couple of people that I know semi-personally that have gotten drafted, and I kind of wanted to discuss a certain, one in particular story. I tried to get him on the show today. Get him on the show maybe a couple of weeks ago. I ran into him, but I've talked about him a little bit. His name is Maurice Hampton. Okay. And I know he ain't gonna mind. I'm gonna get him on here one of these days. I promise you. But anyway, I was telling you he's a big time prospect, LSU football commit, also a high round draft pick. So came out of the local papers yesterday that he got drafted, Monday. Well, he had the opportunity to get drafted in the first round or so on Monday, but he chose not to sign, with the offer that they gave him. And I kind of want to talk about the differences from, back when my time and the difference in what it is now. Okay. Obviously mine was a long time ago. But some things are very different, but some things are similar too. And I wanted to kind of get into it. The Maurice Hampton deal, had me, I get torn. Okay. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a, breakdown. You're right. B-Web. And I wanted to, that is true. And I'm glad you pointed that out. So let me give a shout out to my boy Torres, South Florida in the house, B-Web, Chi-Town in the house, Chipper, Nashville in the house, Manny, Texas in the house, JD, what's going on, baby, Mississippi in the house. All right. And my boy B-Web says, hey, D, one kid gets drafted, one kid gets released. And truth be told, that is the realization of it. That is the realization that even though it's one person's, you know, one parent and one family is excited, you know what I'm saying? But come spring training time, there will be a backlash of the new influx of players coming in now to the draft, where for one dream that's starting, there's another one that may possibly be ending next spring training, okay, and maybe even sooner, okay, maybe even this summer. Some baseball professional dreams will be ending because of the new influx of kids that are, you know, coming into the pro game now, being signed. So it's just the evolution of the baseball business, right? It's just, it is what it is. The influx of kids, you can't keep everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many hundreds of players will be signing. You know, we know there's many of them getting drafted again, but many of them will be signing. Some won't be signing, and then that the backlash will start. Okay, there will be guys that will have to be filling rookie ball teams. Some will be moving up and shaking, but some dreams will be ending very shortly this summer, and definitely going into spring training next year. It's just the nature of the pro business. Sucks and is happy for one, but I'm going to talk about the happy times right now. Sort of happy times. Okay, so the Ty, what's up, baby? Good to see you on, man. All right, so anyway, so my boy Maurice Hampton, man. All right, let's talk about this. All right, speaking of, you know, being happy on one end but not happy on the other. Okay, so you know, a lot of times behind the scenes, you may think that all the best players get drafted, but they get drafted where they're supposed to get drafted, but it's not really the case at all. Okay, this is like the third year I've been, you know, hearing and dealing with this from a personal level, meaning guys that I know personally that essentially are never get drafted. Okay, or if they do, they get drafted extremely late, but it's not where they were slated to go and where their talent states that they're where they should go. Okay. Years ago, my time, it wasn't such a penalty if, let's just say, you know, the Royals drafted D Brown and in the first round or so, and he didn't get drafted. You know, my name would just get put in the draft the next year. We've been no penalty for losing and not signing a first round pick or anything. But now times are different now. Okay. So signability is everything when it comes to draft status now with draft picks. So they're hardcore assets, and each team is allowed its so amount of money towards the draft. So a lot of times they do a lot of homework, and this hasn't changed from my time neither. They always have pre-draft deals. Okay. Quick story about me. I had a pre-draft deal with the Brewers and the Blue Jays. Okay, the Blue Jays they had 2 picks my year, and I can't remember exactly what number. It was 6th pick and the 16th pick or something like that in the first round, and the Brewers picked 8th. Okay, and essentially they had a number slot of what they wanted to give that particular spot. Okay, and essentially whoever agreed to those terms they would pick. Okay, and the pick between the Blue Jays and myself, it came between a guy named Joe Lawrence, right, and D Brown. For the Blue Jays, allowed this amount of money and this part. I want to say it was Joe Lawrence that time. I might be wrong because they had 2 picks. Joe might have been the 2nd pick, but the first pick I can't remember. It's been so long ago. But Joe was a great player out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. 2-sport guy too, like myself, and they essentially brought the same number, pick, and all of that. This is a week or 2 leading up to the draft. Okay, and they allowed it this number at this particular slot, and whoever took it at that time is who was gonna get drafted. At that pick. Same thing with the Brewers. Now I remember vividly with the Brewers because the Brewers picked 8th, and it came down to me and this Kentucky outfield, University of Kentucky outfielder called Chad Green. I think his name was Chad Green at the time. Okay, I think Chad might have got a cup of coffee in the major leagues, but I want to say my gut's telling me I don't think he never made it to the major leagues. Okay, I could be wrong. But Chad was a speedy outfielder, but they allowed it. That pick was, XYZ number, and they obviously whoever chose that number was going to get picked 8th in the draft. Okay, I wanted more, so they didn't pick me. Okay, but these type of pre-draft deals are happening all the time, meaning each team will come. They may have 3 or 4 guys in that, that on a draft board, and essentially they have set aside a certain number for that pick. Okay, and they feel like whoever would take that, they're okay with taking the second, third man on the totem pole, and obviously they want the top man. Okay, I don't know who was the top guy with the Brewers pick that year. It might have been Chad. It might have been myself. It might have been somebody else. I don't know. Okay, but I didn't want that. I felt like I was worth more. And I told him, my representation told him politely, no, thank you. So I was picked 6 picks later at the 14th pick. Okay. But same thing with the Blue Jays. Okay. I want to say, it came down to me and Joe, and actually me and Joe had the same agent. And for the guys that don't know now, Joe is now a co-owner of the Marucci Sports. Okay. But anyway, I digress. And Joe got a little bit of time in the major leagues himself. Okay, really still a good friend of mine. Okay, haven't talked to him in a while, but anyway, yeah, he's one of the co-owners of Marucci. So sometimes these picks are allowed in the numbers or whatever. And I get back to the Maurice Hampton deal. Okay, I just want to kind of give you an idea. It's been going on for years. But what happens, because these teams pick, like the Brewers pick 8th. Okay. The 23 years ago, hard to believe. I know, Corey. You're right. It is crazy that long ago, man. Shout out to Kim. What up, Bill out in Jersey? Brea, what's up, family? All right. Corey, Nick Green, what's up, family? Mark, what's up? Texas in the house. Mark, what's going on? Tony, what's up, baby? Callie in the house. All right. So the Maurice Hampton, he got offered $1.8 million. Okay, to sign, and he chose not to. First round pick. Talked to Dad, a couple weeks ago. He was saying, listen, they had him slated to go anywhere from 8 to 23. Okay, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me talking about it. I would love to get him on and talk about his own story, but I'm just going to give you an overview of my opinion. This is what it's about, right? So he was offered $1.8 million, and he turned it down. For that particular slot that he felt like he was, where he thought that he was worth, and what that slot had previously been being paid, it was almost $1 million some dollars short. And then the reason I'm bringing up this number, because I want a little crowd participation, right? Because I want to know what you would do, okay? In this situation, okay? Because you're going to hear 1.8 million, but let me just give you a whole little story in the background and behind it, okay? So, Choo, what up, family? What's good, baby? And so that's another former first round pick major leaguer that my boy Choo, he's going to come on. I'm going to get him on, maybe come on tomorrow. I'm going to call you, Choo, see if I get you on. We could talk about our draft day stories, but Choo was another first round pick back in the day from with the Rockies. Another two-sport guy, very similar to myself and Maurice Hampton, okay? And I'm just telling you, he's on right now. I look at him. Shout out to my boy Chew out there in Dallas, Texas. But he was a big-time wide receiver going to Texas A&M on a full scholarship to play football, but he chose to get in the draft. And, essentially, the Rockies brought him out of his football commitment, okay? So very similar to mine. So the two-sport thing is all over. I'm just giving you a little shout-out to I know that Chew, knows these type of stories well, because he's another former first round pick and great athlete. All right, so we're gonna put him on too, because we've been talking about other athletes that are very similar to what we are and what I'm talking about now, Maurice Hampton. Okay, so what happened was the reason I kind of talk about the Brewers and in my situation, because I want to bring it back to the Maurice Hampton thing. He got $1.8 million, but for the slot that he was supposed to, where he was supposed to be chosen at, that slot said it was worth $2.7, $2.8 million. Okay. So essentially, that particular team was shortchanging him $1 million. Okay. Now 1.8 is a lot of money to us, right? You know what I'm saying? You like, yo, what, I get it, you know what I'm saying? But do you say, you know what I'm saying? Because I know the comments are going to come in there, but do you feel like it's right though, even though the money is high? Okay. And let me give you a little background. I'm not getting into the situation, but it's not like he's a lot different from like my household situation. Okay. When I was 18. Okay. He it's a different situation. Let me just put it like that. Okay. It's not like he just needs the money. Okay. Let me put it like that. Okay. So, but 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. And 1.8 million is 1.8 million, right? But they had a strategic plan of what they believed. And again, this is why you have to be informed well before you get in this process. You have that's why you have advisors and all of that, because you need to know. You have to have a well drawn out plan, because outside looking in, we look at $1.8 million. Oh my God, why is he not taking it and running with it? Right. But for where they thought that he was rated at, where they thought he was going to be picked at, which essentially he was that slot to them was worth $2.8 million. Okay. But now a team comes behind the scenes and say, listen, we're going to draft you at this. Will you sign for $1.8 million? And they're looking at it and they're saying, well, listen, this slide over here says before you paid $2.8 million. Why are you shortchanging us $1 million? All right, they're going to come up with all type. Well, listen, this is all we got this year. This is our budget. This is what we budgeted for this pick and all of that. And even though it's $1 million less than what that slot was chosen the year before, that's their slot. That's what they chosen to do. And that's what they're going to, roll with. Okay. So now you're caught in a dilemma, right? You know that your slot, what you position yourself to be, is worth XYZ. And you already got a number in your head, right? As a family, as as a whole, you got that number in your head. What you know that slot is worth, and what you know that your kid is worth. Okay. And now here you come and you shortchanged me $1 million, even though there's $1.8 million. Okay. I get it. It's a lot of money for an 18-year-old kid. But do you still sign to take that money because they still shortchanging you $1 million? And what they're going to tell you behind the scenes is what they're going to say, well, you can make your money up in the major leagues if you go. Once you make it, you just got to get in and sign and start playing and collect this check right now and go play. And you're going to make that money plus some and all of that, right? But if you guys just remember, right, you remember what I said to you guys before, how many percentage of guys make it to the major leagues? And that's when you got to get these guys fooled, okay? Obviously, he has a way higher chance of first round or whatever money. And the more money they put in you, the more investment they put in you, the more chances they're going to make sure that you make it to the major leagues. And, they're going to get their money's worth out of you. Going to give you every opportunity to make it to the major leagues. Okay. But there are still, even for my draft alone, I just told you the 8th pick, Chad Green. I think he might have got a cup of coffee in the major leagues. Same thing with my boy, Joe Lawrence. Okay. And these were high level ball players coming out of the draft. Okay. Now I know Joe got a little time in the major leagues. I can't remember about Chad Green, and Chad Green was a top 10 pick. Okay. And I want to say that year of Scott Boras, at that time, Final Loophole, and I talked about this a week or two ago, but I was talking about he got the number 1 high school pitcher at that time, got $10 million out of high school. I don't think he ever made it to the major leagues. Okay. So now, but what they're saying in the background to the Maurice Hamptons and all of that is, listen, here, it's $1.8 million. You're going to turn this down to what? Go play football at LSU, all right, with risk injury and all of this, right? And leave $1 million, over, essentially they're beefing over $1 million, which obviously is a lot of money, right? And so we have this slot. Why don't you take it and just go make your money up in 6-7 years right now in the major leagues, and you make $100-something million, okay? But again, only 4% make it to the major leagues. 4%, okay? 4% make it to the major leagues. So I'm trying to get an idea of, why does this keep coming up, and why, and I'm sure there's a lot more players. I'm just talking about people personally that I know. 2 years ago was the same thing. You guys have seen my boy Baron Radcliffe, okay, on his dad come on the show just last month. You know what I'm saying? But that was his case. You know what I'm saying? He wanted a number, but they came and really shortchanged him, and they almost forced him to go to school. You know what I'm saying? And there's another guy over here in the Mississippi area, same thing too. that they kind of said that he, wanted more than what they thought he was worth and gave to him. Okay. And I understand that, negotiations are tough. You know what I'm saying? It's but certain teams, certain players, like again, this is a top 10 pick quality guy that's not going to play baseball. Okay. So when you see guys I hear this story all the time, and the Major League Baseball players are the best in the world. And if I tell you that all these Major League Baseball players, and I was one, you know what I'm saying? But if I tell you, like, sometimes it's not the case. You know what I'm saying? And I heard it from a professional scout, friend of mine, ex-teammate of mine, who played professionally also. He said this to me about 4 or 5 years ago when we were talking about the perfect games and the kids that were, so-called ranked in the perfect game and the kids that weren't, okay? And how, he truly believes that whole process, all that system goes all the way up through draft, minor leagues, up into the major leagues, where essentially the best kids are not essentially playing baseball. They're not in the major leagues. Let me put it like that. The best players are not in the major leagues sometimes, okay? And I'm not saying Maurice Hampton won't go back, and hopefully everything will work itself out. He'll go back, play 3 years of NFL. LSU, get a chance to play in NFL, and also go ball out on the baseball field and get drafted all over again. That's ideal situation where he have a Kyler Murray type of choice. Okay, we hope. All right, but statistics show that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because even if he does have a Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray got 4.9, there was no guarantee that he'll make it to the major leagues. And they're going to give him every reason and every way to the major leagues, no doubt about it. But that was part of the whole thing. It was weighing on him. Obviously it worked out. He's the number 1 pick in NFL. Okay, but even when they were talking about him being the bottom half of the first round, he still was like, listen, I'd rather go the football route and get this guaranteed money. I know I'm going to be in the league. Where in the minor leagues, even though they gave you $5 million, there's still a strong possibility that I won't make it. Okay. And that's just a testament to different things. It's just, how hard baseball is, the red tape, the everything you kind of got to go through just to, that's why scholarships are so hard. That's why, funneling yourself and getting through all of that type of stuff, even just to get drafted is hard. Okay. Then from that point on, even making it to the major leagues is even harder. And then even staying in the major leagues is the hardest thing to do. Okay. Because once you're in the pro game, they always say it's easy to make it to the big leagues. It's hard to stay. And I could be a testament to that. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to get I want to get your insight. You know what I'm saying? I want to get your insight on this. And I know the comments are coming in and I appreciate it. I'm going to read them all. Okay. But I want to get, how would you feel? You know what I'm saying? That you're $1 million short. And even though 1.8 is a great start for 18-year-old. Okay. But you're $1 million short, then and they're essentially saying, we know you're worth $3 million, but we're going to or $2.8 million, but we're going to shortchange you 1.8 because that's what we got money wise. Multi-billion-dollar business, multi-billion-dollar team. Okay. All right. You only have this amount allotted for you. Okay. Take it or leave it. All right. What would you do in that situation? I want you guys to think about it. Your job force. Okay. And you got to provide now. It's a little different, okay? But essentially, if your chair, your title and your workforce says you are to make $100,000 a year, right? And they come to you and say, we're only going to give you 70,000, but that thing is worth, or let's just say, $65,000, $70,000, okay? And I want to kind of just, are you just going to take it, you know what I'm saying? And just be like, hey, I need it, you know what I'm saying? Or you got a decent job, but it's still an increase, but for a fact that it's not, you're worth more than that, because everybody's situation is different. We're looking at it. I was like, damn, turn it down 1.8. Woo. But then I've been there. All right. Mine was on a few 100,000 here and there, but I saw how the Royals did me. You know what I'm saying? They felt like, let's just draft him and bring him in. He's cool with the scout who happened to be black. You know what I'm saying? He's cool with that guy. We can get him signed, locked and loaded, shortchange him But 2 years earlier, not in one, but 2 years earlier, all right, they gave another ball player who was a so-called two-sport guy like myself, they gave him more money 2 years before. You know what I'm saying? And he was picked lower than me. And they gave him more money than they were offering me. And you know, you guys understand that each year is supposed to be an increase, right? It's supposed to be a 1 to 2% increase on that particular slot. So not only did the Royals pay, you know, was going to pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars less than they gave this guy, you know, for whatever reason, right? They gave, you know, he was picked 2 or 3 picks behind me, his 16, 17 pick. He was going to Oregon to play football, okay? And I was going to pay, you know, at Maryland a running back. Here it is 2 years later, okay? They were trying to shortchange me hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling my story, okay? But then here it is here, the same thing. And so on one hand, it's like, damn, it's $1.8 million. I know you're thinking, like, what the hell? He better take it and run, okay? But on the other hand, they still shortchanging that man $1 million less than what he was, you know what I'm saying, what that slot is worth. I could be talking out of turn. It may be something they wanted, and that was it, and you know, whatever. But those guys, I know the advisors that they have, and I know that, you know, the dad knows what's going on. All right, dad played in the NFL himself. Okay, so it ain't like they're just going to it blindly and just going to take anything. So they did their homework and they have an outline. I highly suggest you read the article in the Commercial Appeal, local paper in Memphis, and you know, read the paper about Maurice Hampton. Okay, so I'm just saying, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, would you sign for 1.8 million? Okay, with a 4% chance to make it to the major leagues. Okay, an even smaller percentage to stay in the major leagues and get paid what they're saying to you. Okay, and leave $1 million on the table. I'd love to hear that. All right, love to hear your thoughts. Let me go through these. All right, here. Kim, what's going on? Let me see here. Marcel, what's going on, baby? The inbox Danny R. Jennings on the show to discuss his new book. Great book. Yes, I've been meaning to get him on. I will. Ty says, I'll take that money. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're shooting you $1 million less, I understand. You know what I mean? So certain people, it is what it is, right? You take the money and go. All right. What if you don't necessarily, I mean, everybody needs 1.8 million, especially 18 years old, but his family ain't hurting for money. All right. So what would you do then? Okay. You're looking at it from, I know, I mean, me too. Right. But I'm thinking about an 18-year-old kid who had never had that money yet. He loves football. He's a baseball guy, but loves football, has a chance to play SEC, you know, big time football and make, you know, essentially, you know, make that up. Okay, that's the whole goal. That's what they're hoping for, right? You never know, right? A lot of ifs on both sides. I'm just gonna be devil's advocate on both sides. Okay, all right. Mark says, shout out to you, Choo. You know, I know you guys are in the Dallas area. As a parent, I would say take the money. Injuries are huge, and making it in the bigs is nearly impossible. You know, you're right. At one point, Brett, I hear you. Thank you for responding. 1.8 million is a lot of money. It's a great way to start. All right, you're looking at roughly after taxes and you know, fees and with lawyer, you know, I mean, agent fees and all that. You're looking at maybe, you know, taking home close to about 800,000. Okay, I'm just food for thought. Taxes, and you got to play Uncle Sam and agent fees. He out of that 1.8, he may take home for 800,000 or so. Troy, what's up, baby? He did not go. He did not get picked. All right. I don't think he got picked. He didn't get picked, Alicia. So, Andrew, I don't think he got picked. Okay. But this is behind the scenes what was going on. That's what I'm saying. Guys don't get drafted. All right. They don't get drafted. All right. So I heard 3 or 4 teams was talking with him, and they had their number and they were sticking to their number, and he said no. So essentially, I don't think he got drafted at all. And I know my guys, same thing. 3 years ago, my boy Van Radcliffe, same thing. You know, they called him, and around the 3rd round, he thought he may go 1st round. They called him in the 3rd round, offered him, you know, 6 figures. He said the number on the show. They offered him about 600,000 or something. All right, he wanted way more than that. Okay, and they've kind of forced his hand to go to school. Okay, and the Braves picked him just, I don't know why, you know what I'm saying, as a courtesy, the 40th round. Okay, here's a guy that could potentially have went the third round. He thought he was a first round pick. He will be one next year, but he was a third round, around the third or fourth round pick. San Diego wanted to pick him. He didn't get drafted to the 40th round as a courtesy. All right, well, I don't think Maurice got drafted at all. All right. He knows his value and will not budge. Good for him. Hey, Chipper, you know what I'm saying? He knows what it is, man. As long as you're doing your homework and you understand and you feel like you're getting slighted and they're shortchanging you, I've been there, man. I've been there and became a principal, man. I'm talking about, it was tears in my household. It was, my mother was crying. My dad was on a whole nother level, like, you know, essentially, because it's a pride thing then. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, they shortchanging me and they think we think we some, you know, I'll say the word, you know, you think we some poor, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, we take anything. All right. Now, my mother was not trying to hear that. My mother was like, this is a great start. Y'all don't, you know what I'm saying? It's hard over there to get offered this type of money at this time. Cause we were talking, we ain't on that level with more, whatever, but it was close. But it was like, it was a hard decision. All right. My dad was like, man, forget it. Cause it was on principle to him. He felt like they were, you know, mistreating me. You know what I'm saying? They were, you know, essentially daring me, saying, here, you know what I'm saying, take this money. What else are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Go play football. What dare you to go play football? All right. And the night before I was supposed to report, August 4th, I was supposed to report for Maryland football practice. Okay. The Royals called me. I had a 5 o'clock bus ride. My mother and parents wasn't even going to drive me because it was so, and I'm literally packing my clothes the night before. And my mother is crying, telling me to rethink this decision. I was upset too. Okay. I was very upset too, because I felt like it was all for naught. You know, the highs of getting drafted, but then when you understand, I mean, I'm an 18-year-old kid at the time, and I understand that, listen, Josh Booty or Matt White or these other guys that are two-sport guys are getting, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 more than they're offering me. You know what I'm saying? And it's the principle sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you shortchanging me? You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing it to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, why, you know I'm a two-sport guy, and and I'm a football player at heart, and they were daring me to play football. And I had just 2 or 3 weeks before I had went to orientation, and my mind switched right back to football, being in orientation, and for all the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? You know, man, trust me, I'll be the first to tell you, it was nothing to do with academics. Okay. But I'm like, football, ACC, girls, all of that, you know what I'm saying, man, forget it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll try to make it to the NFL. That's what my mindset was. You know what I'm saying? And I promise you, 12:30 at night, the Royals called me. Essentially, they felt like, all right, I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I called their bluff. You know what I'm saying? And we worked out. Still didn't get what I wanted, but they still came up. Okay. But this is the tug of war that goes on behind the scenes, man. All right. I didn't want to leave my house. And my people from my hometown, they understand. I did not want to leave my house. You know why? Because just like my people over here were telling me, yo, D, like, yo, how can you turn down this money? You know what I'm saying? Look, your dad drive buses. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you know, your mom's, you know what I'm saying? She worked hard. She retired. Yo, you live in a 2-bedroom apartment. Like, yo, how are you turning down this money? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the stuff that was, coming at me. It got to a point I was like a vampire. I didn't go out. I did not leave my house until 8 o'clock at night. I would go work out late night, you know what I'm saying? Go see my boys, go hang out late night. I didn't want to hang around. I didn't drive around, the town during the day because I didn't want to run into parents and different people who had their opinion of why I ain't taking the money. You know what I'm saying? It was stressful time. So, I mean, I'm just telling my story. I could be wrong. I wasn't wrong, but listen, I ain't worked out though. It worked out, but 12:30 at night, the Royals called me, and I had a 5 o'clock bus ride. My hand to God, I had the bags packed, mother crying. My father was cursing me and her out, and just being like, "Yo, we gonna make this NFL. F them, F whatever. We, you know what I'm saying? Whatever." My dad didn't really care for baseball anyway, to be honest with you, man. Danny, yeah, I've been trying. D is too busy for me. Thanks, Danny, man. My bad, dude. No doubt. I'll get you on there, man. Coach D, not trying to be this way, but is he black? Yes, he is black. All right. Maurice Hampton is black. Yes, he is. And I'm trying to avoid whatever, but yes, I don't know, man. That's what I just tried to say this morning. I don't want to bring race into this issue sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it makes you wonder. You know what I'm saying? 3 years ago, my boy Barron. 2 years ago, my boy Barron, black. You know what I'm saying? Now here, now I'm sure there's white ball players out there that been shortchanged that did. I don't know about. I don't know them personally. I'm just talking about this story right here. Just happened to be young black ball players. Okay. If they guarantee a call up within 3 years to the big leagues, if they trade you, they have to pay you the difference. All right. If they guarantee a call up within 3 years to the big leagues, and if they trade you, they have to pay you the difference. If they guarantee your call up within 3 years to the big leagues, and if they trade you, they have to pay you the difference. Yeah, I get it. And that deal is, Bill, I don't know where you find that out, but that essentially that was the deal I had. Mark, yes. Yeah, I ain't saying it. Brett, yes, you're right. 4%, so 4% take the money. I get it. I get it, man. I get it. Football is a tough sport, man. If I was a quarterback, I would think twice. Maybe I'll think a lot harder. Now here I am talking about 20-some years earlier. I was a running back, all right, and I was still thinking, oh, I'm going to make the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And as a running back in the ACC on a so-so team in Maryland, you know what I'm saying? But that's what your mind is, thought. And my father's mindset was like, listen, we don't know. We ain't gonna never miss this money because we ain't never had it. You know what I'm saying? That's my dad's, but my mother was not trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? My mother was not trying to hear that. I'm just telling some inner stories, man. It was crazy times, man. We know what it is, coach, on the low, but love how our kids don't play baseball full time and we still on their heels. No doubt, man. I mean, listen, think about the type of athlete, the Kyler Murrays, the Maurice Hamptons. I'm gonna be honest with you. I prided myself, you know what I'm saying, as a great athlete. You know what I'm saying? I was more of a great athlete than anything baseball wise, anything wise. I was more of an athlete than a baseball player. Okay. But for these dudes, man, they 4.3s and 4.4s, the Kyler Murrays, and with a hose, and these are special athletes that they could play, particularly small, in the Kyler Murray case, you know what I'm saying, that baseball is in him. Football is too, but baseball is in him. His uncle was a big time pick too, so. Done with this, man. Hey guys, I'm sorry. Same old. I'm having issues with the connection. I was on YouTube live too for the first time. Maybe that was the problem too. I should have told you guys. Yeah, I was going on YouTube live for the first time today. But anyway, I hope you guys come join me again. I'm gonna go back, and I know we had a bunch of comments. I don't want to miss nobody's comments because I know this is a hot topic. Okay, so let me kind of go through these. Make sure I get all of these. All right, Condi, what's up, baby? Man, I hate that. I want to make sure I hit all these comments, man. What's up, Pop? Pop, you know this. I'm glad I'm talking about you, man. I wish I wish my dad is on today and he could tell you about them draft stories, man. And he could tell you first and forehand, how this whole thing works, man. And man, I hate that I had to get cut off on this, but I see that my I see that my dad is on, man, and oh man, I'd love to hope I'm gonna give a little time for everybody to kind of come back on, man. And I wish we didn't have the issue we did, man. But shout out to Corey. I'm gonna get back talking about this. Gosh. Bubble it up. Make sure everybody kind of get back on, and I just put my little 2 cents in, man. All right, Mark. Mark says, true that. Why college chose football sounds like a bunch of political stuff. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's like that in football too, because I have my issues with the NFL too, man. They're lowballing him if he's worth more and go to play college football. Yes and no, man. I feel the same way about football too, man. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? But on my my humble opinion, man, I don't know, man. It ain't like football. Just if I was a quarterback, maybe, but all the other positions, man, I just don't know. I just don't know. Do you think the financial restrictions of the draft are playing into college players being taken more than high schoolers? Our draft times, it was an open market, and each round didn't have a dollar amount attached to it. Yes and no, Corey. You know what I'm saying? I believe that. I believe that it wasn't just so everybody had all the open reign to get high top dollar and all of that. And there was slots that I talked about it earlier. I don't know if you were on there, Corey, but I was talking about how the pre-draft deal back in my day with the Brewers they had a time a slot, and they were going to spend this amount of money, and if they didn't make if you didn't say yes to it, it is what it is. They go to the next player. So it is still time slots connected to it. I would go to school and better myself, then hopefully they come at me with more ducats. I get it, Tony. All right, Danny, what's up? Ty Mason. If it ain't hurting for the money, pass. Yup. What up, Coach? Your current financial situation has a lot to do with that decision. If you came from a financially stable family and you have a plan, then you decide your worth. I don't fault anyone for holding their value. Amen, Jay Soma. Amen. Amanda, how are you? Brett, I had the same number. Bill, do they pay black draft picks less than whites? And if that's the offer, and that's why they offer less, more, probably 800K. Dang, Uncle Sam getting paid. That's right, Ty. You ain't lying. All right. So, anyway, man, I hate that I had to go off and yup, no more drafting follows, not up. What up, Mike? What's up, baby? Hat will be in the hats are coming. My bad, coach. My bad, Mike. But yeah, no more drafting follows, man. So you can't control guys. That's a whole nother issue. That's another, we talked about it briefly, Corey, but definitely is a major, that used to be how they control you too. You know what I'm saying? And for the guys that necessarily wasn't ready. So, but yeah, it's and I just, it's a hot topic, man. I just wanted to kind of say peace and finish up this, session. I appreciate everybody that was on. I hate that I had to get cut off on there, but, listen, it is tomorrow I'll be back on, hopefully with the Siena coach. We're going to get this thing going, man. And so I'm going to end this. I appreciate the crowd participation. Pop, what's up? Appreciate you being on too. Today was a hot topic, man, talking about that. But I will be on tomorrow, and I don't want you guys to miss out. I'm gonna try to get the Siena coach to come on. He's supposed to come on Friday, but we'll see. All right. I want to say peace and love to everybody that was listening in. Thank you again for the support as always. And I'm gonna say peace, and I'll see you guys 3 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. All right. Peace.